Well, I guess spiritual is a, I don't want to say a problematic way of thinking about it. Certainly, I think it's possible to be extremely spiritual in the way of being connected with the world around you and in communion with the universe without having any overt idea of one deity that's the true God or whatever. And being a pretty hardcore atheist myself, I don't, I wouldn't say that I found it spiritual in the sense that, wow, that's the meaning of, that's where truth comes from per se. Um, though I guess if I had to point to a higher cause or some overarching reality structure that tends to impose itself on us and that we have to kind of reckon with in order to navigate reality, I would have to say it has something to do with just the natural existence of the world, and of course of the universe past the world. And in that sense, definitely you feel a very profound spiritual connection with not only with yourself after you go through it, like with what your relationship is with the outside world and people around you, but also with all things that generate a vibrational frequency. And without trying to make that sound too geeky or hippie or abstract, it really does have to do with wavelengths and reflections and things that once you start to reconfigure the nature of your reality through this the ayahuasca session, you then later can see how the mental constructs of reality are not as hardwired as they might seem for those that have never actually gone out and attempted to kind of readjust the nature of their epistemology. So I guess spiritual, certainly, but I wouldn't say religious. I imagine that someone who believes in whatever god or gods that they grew up with, that they had been indoctrinated in, I imagine that they would probably, it would result in them having some sort of, yeah, I really felt closer to God or whatever. But without any sort of God to point to as being meaningful for myself, I just felt a more profound connection with just the natural world. And I think, from my understanding of the Shipibo, and I would hate to put words in their mouths because it's just such a fascinating and beautiful culture, I think they worship the spirits of the natural world, specifically the vines and the trees and the canopy of the trees and all of the life within it is a very sacred thing to them, and they protect it and they cherish it. And they are at odds with the more kind of destructive elements of, I guess you could say, the Western world, which tends to exploit nature as opposed to understand it, which tends to extract things from nature at the expense of the overall health of the nature. So I think that spiritual is a good word, though I wouldn't say religious by any stretch. But that was only my personal take on it.